an ugly fatso loser who got bullied every day at school. Even his own parents treated him like trash. But one day, he opened his bathroom door that led to another world. There, he gained cheat level skills and got transformed his body into like a Giga Chad. Then, he started raising every girl he met, who wants to marry him and have little Yuya Juniors. This all starts with a girl being harassed by a group of guys, and then we meet Yuya, a boy who tries to stand up for her. But instead of backing off, the men start making fun of Yuya, calling him ugly fat ass, and they end up beating him up. Eventually, the police arrive, and the men take off. The girl thanks Yuya for stepping in, but he just says he's okay and walks away. We learn that Yuya's grandfather always taught him to be kind and to help others. When Yuya gets home, we see that his house is covered in mean painting. It turns out Yuya has been bullied his whole life. Even his own parents didn't treat him well because, unlike his good-looking siblings, Yuya was considered ugly. Middle school was even worse, where he was constantly picked on. The only person who cared about him was his grandfather, who kept telling him that being kind would lead to happiness. When his grandfather passed away, Yuya inherited his house and savings. His parents tried to contest the will but failed, so they abandoned him, leaving Yuya to live alone and work part-time to survive. Yuya is about to graduate middle school, but his yearbook is filled with hurtful comments. As he's leaving, his bullies stop him and remind him that even after graduation, he'll still be their errand boy. Yuya tries to leave, saying he needs to get to work, but they beat him up anyway, while his brother and sister just watch from afar. When he finally makes it to his job, his boss is tired of him being late and fires him. Back at home, Yuya eats a sad meal, and when he looks in the mirror, he loses it and smashes the mirror, frustrated that nothing seems to change, even after graduation. He punches the wall in anger, and to his surprise, a hidden room is revealed. Inside, he finds all sorts of strange items, which he assumes are things his grandfather collected while traveling. He discovers a mysterious door, and when he opens it, it leads to a strange new room. Yuya gets freaked out when a notification pops up out of nowhere. As he reads it, he realizes the door leads to another world. He starts getting all these notifications explaining different features, like how he can store items and control who can use the door. Even though he's confused, Yuya thinks it's like a video game and checks his stats, but he's disappointed to see that they're all really ugly like his face. He looks around and sees that he's really in another world. He finds a note on a table, and although he can't read it at first, he suddenly gains a language skill that helps him understand it. The note explains that the house belonged to a powerful sage who left it to whoever finds it, along with everything inside. The house is protected by magic, so only the owner can get in. Yuya discovers a bunch of weapons in the house, and as he examines them, he realizes they're all incredibly powerful. He goes outside to practice with a sword but ends up falling. Although he does manage to learn a basic sword skill. Thinking it might be useful, Yuya trains with the weapons and discovers they're all top-tier items. He gains several skills, but his stats still stay at level 1, and he wonders how to level up. He puts the weapons away in storage, but suddenly, a monster appears. Yuya is terrified, but he remembers that the house is protected by magic. The monster, a level 300 bloody ogre, tries to break through the barrier but fails. Yuya decides to fight back and throws a spear, which pierces the monster and kills it instantly. The spear returns to him, and the monster disappears, leaving behind a bunch of items. Yuya's level shoots up to 100, and he's shocked by his new stats. After putting all his points into his stats, Yuya decides to call it a day. As he's leaving, he notices an option to cash out, which converts the items he got from the monster into money. Yuya is confused but happily takes the money. That night, Yuya experiences a shocking transformation. When he wakes up, he realizes that his body has completely changed, and his clothes no longer fit him. Confused and unsure of what's happening, he remembers that his mirror is still broken, so he starts looking for something to wear. He finds some magical clothes in the sage's house that adjust perfectly to his size and come with various magical perks. As he wonders who this mysterious sage might have been, he decides to explore the garden. Suddenly, a level 200 slime monster attacks him. But this time Yuya stays calm, pulls out his spear, and easily defeats the creature. The monster drops some coffee slime and a rare necklace that can restore his magic power. Yuya levels up again, gaining a new skill that allows him to detect others' presence, bringing him to level 150. He tries the coffee slime and is surprised at how good it tastes. With some of the money he's earned, he orders a new uniform to be ready for high school. Yuya spends the next few days fully immersed in the other world, training and learning everything he can. He begins to enjoy himself and even forgets about how depressed he used to be. When an elite goblin attacks his house, Yuya, now much stronger and more skilled, fights it off with ease, using a special move to defeat the goblin. meet the goblin. Time flies, and soon it's the first day of high school. When Yuya arrives, everyone is immediately drawn to him because of his new look, and even his siblings are amazed. In class, his old bullies approach him, but they don't recognize him and assume he's a new student. When Yuya tells them who he is, everyone is shocked and can't believe it. Later, Yuya finally sees his reflection in the bathroom and is stunned by how much he has changed. After class, Yuya's brother and sister confront him, demanding to know how he transformed so drastically. But they still insult him by calling him a loser. Just then, a limo pulls up, and the girl Yuya saved earlier steps out, looking for him. Yuya is surprised and wonders who she is until she reminds him of how he rescued her. She introduces herself as Kaori and says she wanted to properly thank him, revealing that she found out more about him. Kaori invites Yuya to join Aosei Academy, a prestigious school for elite students. She explains that she's on the student council, and that her father is the chairman of the academy. Yuya feels honored but doubts he's smart enough to attend such a school. His brother tries to intervene, claiming that he and his sister are better than Yuya in academics and sports. But Kaori shuts them down, saying she knows all about how they mistreated Yuya, and that they're not welcome at the academy. Kaori reassures Yuya that Aosei Academy values character just as much as intelligence, so he would fit in perfectly. She offers to show him around the school, and they drive off, leaving his stunned siblings behind. When they arrive at the academy, Yuya is amazed by how impressive the school is and how accomplished the students are. He meets Tsukasa, the chairman and Kaori's father, who thanks Yuya for saving his daughter. Yuya tries to downplay his actions, but Kaori insists that he was the only one who helped her. Tsukasa invites Yuya to join the school and even offers to cover his tuition as a thank you. Yuya hesitates, thinking he might not belong at a school full of geniuses, but Tsukasa encourages him, saying that everyone has their own talents. He suggests that Yuya try attending the school for a day to see how it goes, assuring him that through challenges and fun, he'll eventually discover his own strengths. A teacher named Sawada, who Tsukasa introduces as a famous scientist, enters the room. Despite her impressive background, Tsukasa mentions that her classes are popular because they are easy to understand. As Yuya prepares for his first class, he worries he might be in over his head, but he reassures himself that nothing could be worse than his old school. When he introduces himself to the class, all the students seem shocked, not because of what he says, but because of how good-looking he is now. Yuya takes a seat at the back of the room and ends up sharing a book with the girl next to him, who seems to tsundere. He worries she might not like him, but Kaori is hopeful that Yuya will fit in. As the class goes on, Yuya realizes it's actually pretty normal, except that the students are way more active and engaged than what he's used to. During their break, a group of curious students start asking Yuya questions, like if he's an idol or has a girlfriend. It quickly becomes overwhelming, but a student named Ryo steps in and stops them, then takes Yuya to the cafeteria for lunch. Yuya is amazed to see the menu and finds out that all the food is free, making him feel like he's dreaming. They sit down with another student named Shingo, and as they chat, Yuya is surprised to discover they share a love for anime. While eating, Yuya notices everyone staring at him and assumes it's because his uniform is different. Shingo asks if Yuya is in any clubs, but Yuya says he isn't. Ryo mentions he's not in a club either because he's good at so many sports that he can't decide on just one. Shingo reveals that he's part of the gaming club, and Yuya is surprised they're allowed to have consoles at school. Shingo explains that as long as they don't play during class, it's fine. Talking about video games helps Yuya feel more. She's happy and invites him to hang out after school. They visit some shops in a popular area, and Yuya wonders if this is where she usually hangs out with friends. Kaori explains that she doesn't go out much because people tend to avoid her due to her family, but she feels different with Yuya. Feeling a bit nervous, Yuya follows Kaori to a crepe shop. He's relieved that he has money from the other world to cover the costs. They enjoy their crepes together, and Yuya wants to try more flavors, but he worries about gaining back his old weight. He asks Kaori how she recognized him despite his transformation, and she explains that while he looks slimmer, his eyes are still the same. She offers him a bite of her crepe, and though a bit embarrassed, Yuya accepts. He then offers her a bite in return, and she shyly takes it, with some nearby girls thinking they look adorable together. Later that night, Yuya returns to the other world, fully armored and ready to face more monsters. Even though he's still a bit scared, he fights them off and reaches level 235, but notices his progress has slowed down. He decides to leave his house to find tougher challenges, thinking back on his time at the academy. As he steps outside, Yuya
Saya boleh buat kerja guna kaki.
outside, Yuya hears a scream and rushes toward it. he finds a group of soldiers who have been brutally killed and spots a level 200 goblin general. The goblin is clearly dangerous, but Yuya also sees a girl hiding behind it. He throws his spear, but the goblin deflects it. In a quick move, Yuya jumps and slams down on the goblin, defeating it. Just as he turns to check on the girl, she warns him about another goblin behind him. Yuya gets knocked back and realizes this goblin is both stronger and faster, but he doesn't give up. He uses his spear to vault over the goblin, fires arrows from his bow, and finally switches to his sword to slice the goblin in half. Afterward, the girl faints and Yuya hears people approaching. He uses an invisibility skill to hide as knights arrive, searching for the girl. It turns out she's a princess named Lexia. Back at home, Yuya thinks about the recent event where he saved that girl. He's a bit worried, wondering if she's alright, but since the knights came to help her, he figures she's probably fine. As he looks down at his shirt, he realizes it might be time to buy some new clothes, especially since he's got some money saved up from his adventures in the other world. His current shirt is enchanted to stay clean, but he thinks it would be good to have more options so he doesn't always look the same. When Yuya goes to the mall to do some shopping, he notices that people keep staring at him. They're probably thinking he's some kind of celebrity or model. It feels strange to him, since he's not used to getting this kind of attention. Meanwhile, in another part of the mall, a director is having a bad day because a model named Sho hasn't shown up for a photo shoot. Sho's manager gets a call saying Sho is on his way, but the director is frustrated because everyone else, especially their other model, Mew, has been waiting all morning. The shoot is supposed to be a couple's theme, so they can't start without both models. The director decides that, instead of waiting around, he'll find someone else in the mall to replace Sho. As Yuya walks around, he feels a bit overwhelmed by all the clothing choices. Just then, some girls come up to him and offer to help him pick out clothes. That will never happen to you, because you never leave your house. Yuya, feeling a little unsure, thinks they might just be trying to sell him something, so he politely turns them down. The girls are left stunned by his kindness and start whispering about him as he walks away. Yuya wonders if he handled the situation right, but he decides to keep shopping on his own. The director, still searching for a new model, spots Yuya and immediately thinks he's the perfect person to fill in. Without hesitating, he approaches Yuya and explains the situation, asking if Yuya would be willing to step in as the male model for the shoot. Yuya feels a bit nervous but agrees, understanding that a lot of people are depending on him. Soon, Yuya is posing as the boyfriend for the photo shoot, wearing different outfits and trying to follow the director's instructions to look more confident and stylish. Mew, the female model, notices Yuya is a bit stiff and reassures him that he's doing great, especially for someone new to modeling. Her encouragement helps Yuya relax a bit, and he starts to enjoy the experience more. As the shoot continues, Yuya becomes more impressed with how professional Mew is, even though they're about the same age. For the next shot, Mew has to get really close to Yuya, which makes him even more nervous, especially when the director asks her to get closer. Despite feeling awkward, Yuya tries his best, and a crowd starts gathering to watch them. Meanwhile, in the other world, Princess Lexia can't stop thinking about how Yuya saved her life. She decides she has to go back to the Dark Forest to find him and thank him in person. Even though her knight warns her about the dangers, Lexia insists on going back, and the knights reluctantly agree to go with her. Back at the mall, the photo shoot finally ends, and Yuya is exhausted. Mew thanks him again for stepping in at the last minute. As they